So thank you for coming onto the hot seat, Sarah. I'm super excited. So I actually wanted to have you on for everything about you is just you're showing love and happiness and sparkly. You're just sparkly all the time.
Thank you.
And I know we were talking.
Not all the time.
Well, look, you could tell you're a happy, sweet person. And I think that really matters. And what's really interesting about it is you and I have never really had a conversation.
Yes.
But it's one of those things because of social media. Of course, we share what we want to share. I feel like I know you. So I'm like, hi, come on in.
Yep.
You know, there's no awkwardness with it.
I feel like that way too.
Yes.
Let's talk about all the things.
Yeah. So I'm super excited to have you on. You're a really good producer. What did you do in the last, 30 units in the last 12 months or something like that?
Yes, yeah. At 32.
So that's a huge deal.
It is. Yeah.
And you make it look easy and fun and all the good things.
Yes.
Okay. So let's get started. So the most serious first question. Okay. You ready?
Yes.
What Harry Potter house are you?
Slytherin.
Okay, me too. Now,
Yeah.
I love it.
And I was depressed when I found out it was a Slytherin.
Why?
Because I wanted to be Gryffindor so bad. Because
I
the books and
it's
the movies.
hyped up.
Yeah.
I know.
Like, I'm so bad if I'm a Slytherin. But when you really get down into the details of what a Slytherin is.
They're pretty great.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So
I
feel
love
proud.
being a Slytherin.
Me too.
So I've read every Harry Potter book. I think I've read the series a couple of times over and then every year. So the last Harry Potter book, my son was 3 years old and I kept him up until midnight.
Oh, so fun.
And we did an opening of it and he got to hold snakes in Madagascar.
How cool.
So it's been a part of my life. We watch it October 1st to Christmas. We watch every Harry Potter movie.
Me too.
So anytime I find a Harry Potter fan, I'm all, hi, you're my best friend.
Multiple wands.
Yes.
Because like you're saying, I think they got released real time, as I was reading them. So I had to wait for the next book to come out. And that and the movies too. So I think that just sparked the obsession. But I've read them all, the whole series probably about 3 times.
Yeah, for
I've listened to it too.
Me too.
I'm a
Yes.
huge Harry
Okay.
Potter fan.
So Slytherin, I like you. I'm Slytherin as well. House
Perfect.
points all the way.
Yes.
So why real estate? I saw that you had a degree in human resources.
Yes.
Why did we make that jump?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I went to school, went to college, got my degree, my bachelor's in human resource management. I actually wanted to go to law school. I really liked employment law, and that's where I thought I was going to go once I graduated from college. But my mom, she had her license for many years before I did, and every time I saw her was like, you need to get your real estate license. You need to get your real estate license. And I'm like, okay, I really got my license just to stop my mom from asking me.
Well, was she saying that because she was doing well in it, or was she saying because she wanted really close, let's do this together?
She wanted us to do it together, but also I think she's like, mom knows best. I really firmly believe that now at 31.
Yeah, if my children are listening, just realize mom knows best.
Yes, I finally believe it now. But I think she knew it would be a good career path for me. I don't know if she was really thrilled about me going to law school, doing that kind of stuff.
Sure.
I think she really felt like it was going to be a good connection personality-wise and just generally. And it was, because once I got my license, and I always had the mindset, I'll just sell a couple houses a year. It won't be that big of a deal. But that first house I sold, I fell in love.
So you still remember that first house?
Oh, yes.
Do you still remember the first clients and everything?
Yes.
Okay.
I remember the first clients, the first house. I handed the keys to the clients. It was a buy side, which I'm so happy. And I love our buyers. That is my preferred side. And it's probably...
Not many agents say that.
It really is. I love the listings too, obviously.
Sure, right.
But the buy side, you get to be a part of their life story in such a different way.
That's my favorite part.
Yes.
Is a life story.
Oh, totally.
Yes.
And so handing the keys, first time home buyers too, handed the keys, got into my little Jetta with no AC, and I cried.
The good days.
Yeah, the good days. And I cried, and I was like, okay, this just felt so soul connected. And yeah, I just went running from there. But it was not an easy start for me.
So how far after? So you graduated, and then how far after were you in real estate?
So I got my license while it was my last year in college. And I would say probably a year after that, I committed full time. So I've had my license for 9 years, but I've been full time for about 8 years.
All right. So you mentioned that it wasn't an easy start.
No.
Tell me about that, dare I ask?
Yeah. So I, was very naive, and I quit my very stable full-time job, cold turkey. I had maybe $2,000 in my savings account, but I had a paid-off car, and I was like, okay, I can do this with no AC. And so yeah, quit my job. I didn't sell a house until 6 months after that. And then after that, it took another 4 months to sell another, and then another 3 months. It was a very slow burn. And I'm so proud of that. I think it kind of gave me and set me up to like have, I don't know, I'm very grateful for what I have now.
Right.
But also, I planted so many seeds and just kept watering and watering and watering with no harvest. And now I feel like...
So you had some grit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had very supportive parents, too, who were like, okay, come live with us. We're going to figure this out.
Right. You won't starve. Just keep going.
And so I had a lot of that. But, yeah, huge life change. I was very social. I was very, going out with friends. Like, let's go get dinner, happy hour, all that stuff. All that stopped. I just focused on reading Harry Potter.
Right. It gets you some dark times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So who was your biggest influence growing up in life? Was it your mom? Were you very close to your mom, or were they both parents very impactful?
Yeah, very close to both of my parents. I like to call them hippies because they're totally like, oh, you have a cold, go sit out in the sun for a few hours. Right. Very grounded. But and we didn't have a microwave or really a TV in the house. It was all music.
Oh, I love that.
And so they created a really good family dynamic. So I think both of them were very influential in different ways. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she had her license to sell houses here and there. But my dad, I mean, he has an incredible story. He was an immigrant to this country from Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Climbed his way from being a janitor at a school site all the way to now he's one of the superintendents. Like, not superintendent. That's not the, he's going to hate me for not knowing this, but he's one of the directors.
There you go.
Yeah, he's the director of people services.
You're all dad, I corrected it.
Yeah, I'm all dad, I corrected it. He's not super, maybe one day he will be, but no. So he took all those steps. He did teacher, vice principal, and then moved his way up to the district. And just seeing him climb, and especially him being an immigrant to this country and my grandparents, like, I think I've had this mindset that I don't have a choice but to like do even better because they've sacrificed so much for us to be here.
For you, yeah. And I can see why you like working with buyers and like the life story, the origin story, because you saw it with your dad as well. So that's really cool.
Absolutely.
So he's a hard worker. At any point in time, was he, especially at the beginning, was he like, you're not doing anything, go get a job? Or was he all just supportive?
So supportive, but I'm from the age of like 15 and a half when you can get a job in California at that time. He was like, you got to get a job. Like, you have to get out there and work. So that push, I think, just kind of set me up for always like, okay, I have to keep going. I have to keep achieving. I have to keep doing this. And so with real estate, he was more proud of me for kind of quitting the full-time, very stable job cold turkey because he thought it would just teach me a lot of life lessons.
Which it did.
It did, yeah.
Good and bad.
I have been so broke, and I am so proud of that. Those moments in my life, those quiet moments are just, they built who I am today.
And don't you think, and I reflect on this as well, like I was on my own at 16. Like I was a poor girl from mid Moreno Valley. Like, but it was such a simpler time, you know, like I drove a white pickup truck. It didn't have any air conditioning. I'm pretty sure it didn't have a radio. Like, and it was just a, I guess, freeing, quiet part of my life. And so every once in a while, I'd be like, I could live in that for a few months again. Yeah. Like, it'd be fun.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why Gypsy by Fleetwood Mac's probably one of my favorite songs. Yeah, because she talks about that and their story of it. Because, I feel like you could take this all away. And I think it's made me very humble, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Humility, I think, is one of the characteristics that I see a lot come through. You know, when we look at social media, when anybody looks at social media, you get what the person portrays, but things leak through. And I don't like the show. I'm not a showy person. I love the humility. I love loving on people. And I think one of the things I love about you is you're humble. You love the community that you're a part of. You're excited to showcase different things.
Thank you.
And you love on people, and that comes through over and over and over again. So whether you wanted to be specific with your brand or not, your brand is that. So it shines through.
That's
absolutely.
So nice. No, it wasn't. That's really just me showing what I love, which is Riverside and my buyers and clients for sure.
So when did it take a turn? How many years in before you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Yes. Well, I feel like I have imposter syndrome, so I'm like, I still am not there.
Everybody feels that way, by the way.
Okay, cool.
I actually coach on that. Okay. Everybody feels imposter syndrome.
Yeah. So but the point where I was like, okay, I don't need to be on Indeed looking for jobs every 3 months, because I have these meltdowns. I would say probably about 2 or 3 years ago. So maybe like 6, 7 years into my career, I was like, okay, this is a career. Like I'm building something.
Right.
Yeah.
And how many repeat clients do you have at this point where they go to like, hey, Sarah, I was thinking about this. How much do you get of that?
So percentage-wise of my business, I would say that's probably a good like 30% of my business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I think that's what the benefit of working with buyers is too, is these buyers, because a lot of them are first-time home buyers, they're not purchasing their dream home.
Right.
They move up. And I've really set myself up for that, and I'm seeing that now. Those first few clients, they're making those moves. So I don't think anyone should really neglect that part of the business.
I agree. Okay, so with that said, define success for me, both personally and in business. So we were at the starting point, the middle ground. Yes, COVID years happen in real estate and mortgage. I always call those the fake years.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Yes. Inflated.
We're in the weeds of it. We're in the thick of it right now. And so you were saying, I have imposter syndrome, but the real question is, do you, or have you just not defined success yet for yourself?
Yeah, I think that, and two, I'm never scared to say I've done many years of therapy, and most recently working on this even more, because the imposter syndrome, it's just something that I think is embedded in me.
I think it's in everybody, by the way.
As an oldest daughter, too.
Yes.
I have this like incredibly high standard on myself. Like, I just have very, very high goals. But I think success, so personally, I think it's just peace. Really, like just peace, quiet. That's success to me now, especially as I've leaned into some of my success, maybe on the little luxurious side, like, oh, I'm going to do this and that. And it's like, that didn't bring me peace.
Yes.
But like the peace level is like, okay, I have time to read a book today. That feels successful to me. Or I have time to wash the dishes or do the laundry. That feels successful to me.
That's a real thing, though.
Yeah, totally. So that feels like when I can have balance in my life, that feels successful. And then as far as business goes, if we're talking like actual numbers, I just love to help at least 2 to 3 clients a month. And I've always given myself somewhat of that goal. Sometimes, and we know the business is different. Sometimes I help 0, and then other months I help 8. And it's just like this weird flow. But yes, and I think those are the numbers. I've always had a GCI goal of 500,000, and that's like from the start of my career to probably about 5 years ago.
Have you hit it?
I have not hit it yet, and I'll keep thinking about it, but I've decided to let that number go. And just be as present as possible.
Yeah, especially with your definition of success, just having peace and balance. The GCI goal of 500,000 and the definition of success. The math doesn't math.
Nope, exactly. My therapist literally told me that. She's like, you realize.
No.
Okay, get it.
So with that, so we've defined success, which I love that definition of success that actually gave me, especially the way you say it, such a calming feeling. I'm like, yes, that sounds lovely.
Yes.
How do you define failure?
Yeah. I actually love my failures. I think my failures, I've talked about it. I feel like my first 2 years were failures in the business, just if you're looking at it like numbers wise. But, and two, I'm never scared to say, for a long, probably about 8 months, I couldn't pay my bills, and I was very, I would say too proud to ask for money from my parents. So I think that failure, I had a credit score of like 400 at one point. Now I'm like at 822.
Yay,
I'm so proud of it.
That's a big deal.
Yes, but those failures, and I'm sorry you asked for the definition, and now I'm talking about all my trauma in life.
But that's defining failure too. Yeah,
exactly. But those failures, and I think that's why I say I'm so proud of them, and I don't wish for them, but I love them because they're necessary for life.
Yeah, and what's interesting? It's almost like you defined failure of not necessarily, hurting your credit or not making your payments. You defined failure as not asking for help when you actually needing it.
Yeah.
That's, you're very insightful, my friend.
Yeah. I'm telling you, therapy, everybody. It's helpful.
All right. So what role does self-care play in your daily routine? Like my daily routine, if someone screws up my morning routine, it's just gone for the rest of the day. Might as well just stay home and leave it alone.
Oh, definitely. And that's self-care too. And I think I've touched on it. You can probably really tell that I'm a homebody and like my peace, but I think self-care for me is those quiet moments.
Yes.
And those quiet moments really come in the morning when like nothing's chaotic. No one's texted me, emailed me, Instagrammed me yet, you know, those peaceful moments. So yes, also I have a morning routine that I love, but I'm a big spa girl and I don't do it enough.
I know.
But when I do it, I'm like, why don't I do this once a week? It happens like maybe once a quarter.
I went to the Mission Inn. Oh my gosh, I think it was a year ago now. So I love the Mission Inn. I love Kelly Spa, and I love just sitting in one of the breakout rooms.
Yeah.
And you have your little water or whatever juice and you're just sitting there listening to the like calming music. The last time I went, I was like, I should do this every single month.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure now it was like 18 months ago, maybe 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure about that.
I have 4 gift cards that I found recently that I collected, and I'm like, okay,
what is wrong with me?
I need to use these. You know?
Oh
yeah.
I know.
Cool.
Now, how does your self-care and everything you do, because I'm an introverted person, like that's just, I will take a book over really anything at this point in my life. So how does that, you being an introverted person, you focusing on peace, how does that work when our business is such an extroverted business?
Oh, yeah. Yes, exactly. And I like to call myself like an extroverted introvert.
Yes.
Absolutely. I feel like you probably can relate to that too.
Yes.
But it's really taking the time, because open houses are probably the most draining thing for me in the entire world. Like going to an open house, I do love them, you know, doing that stuff. So I've learned with that, taking a step back and scheduling those quiet moments
help.
Oh, yeah.
So do you think that's where, so 30% of business is from past clients.
Yes.
How much do you think is from open houses at this point?
0%.
0%?
Yes.
Where's your business coming from?
It's all coming from social media, referrals, and past clients at this point in time in my business. And I've been very, very intentional about that. When I first started, I put eggs in every single basket you could put them into. I was cold calling, I was door knocking, I was open housing, I was farming. And I was so burnt out and nothing was giving me anything. You know, I was planting seeds, yes. But once I started leaning into social media, I'm like, oh, I actually like enjoy this and I like this, you know, and there's some people in this business that love cold calling. That's where their business
That
comes
is
from.
not me.
Yeah. Absolutely not me.
Yeah, I'm not a cold
caller.
caller.
So when I started just focusing on that one thing, loving on my past clients, loving on social media, is when the business really started flowing.
So do you think that your business is a lot more relationship based now than anything else?
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you want for the next 5 years?
Okay, next 5 years. I have big plans for the next 5 years. Yeah. No, so I got my broker's license a few years ago. I was very intentional on the what I thought was going to be the slow quiet of COVID. So I signed up to get my broker's license. I'm like, okay, like I'm going to have this time to do this. And it took me the whole year to get it done.
Sure. Well, we all have PTSD from COVID, from very different things. But the industry was like, what is happening around here?
Exactly. So I think that it's now building a very intentional team. I have 2 great agents so far. They've been absolutely lovely. I've been leaning more into the mentorship side of just real estate in general, real estate agents, you know, mentoring them. And that's really filled my cup. I love that portion of it. And then, of course, the next 5 years is kind of releasing the tight reins I have on my business, because I want to do it all.
Right.
And starting to kind of, you know, okay, you can do this one task. You know? And so I think the next 5 years are going to be more or less of that, maybe more stepping into a leadership role versus, you know, doing everything and wearing all the hats.
So I will give you like a mindset shift around it's not I'm going to release the reins and here I'll delegate this one thing. Yeah. It's I'm so excited to coach you up on how I did this so you can replicate it.
Love it.
So it's just remember when you delegate anything off, It's never going to be done to your 100% standard. It'll be done to maybe 60 to 80%, but you get the opportunity to coach people and mentor people. And that's where the magic and the fulfillment happen.
I love that.
For
Thank
sure.
you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I started with one employee who, if she ever listens to this, I have failed her in every single way. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yes, I get that.
And now looking back, I just had the wrong mindset about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. I needed that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So are you ready for some hot seat questions?
Ready.
Cool. Okay. So if you could have dinner with one dead or alive business person, entrepreneur, or celebrity, who would it be and why?
Oh, Stevie Nicks, and it's just because she's like my idol. I love her so much. And it'd probably just be me like staring at her while we eat. I probably wouldn't even be able to talk.
What would you even say?
I love you. No, I think that really she's just been so inspiring because she's such a poet and she's so... she's just absolutely wonderful, but I really am just a huge fan of her music, period. Yeah, huge music lover.
Okay, well, that was an easy question for you. You were like, all right, well, what about book? What's the one book or book series that you think has been most profound to your life?
Yeah, there's a few. Of course, the Harry Potter series, which we've touched on.
Right.
But also, there was a book that I read right when I quit my job, and I was like so lost and excited about real estate, but also like, what did I just do? And it's You're a Badass by Jen Cincinnati. I think that's her name, Cincinnati. I can never pronounce her last name. It changed my life. It really did. And now I give that book to almost anyone and
I
everyone.
have not read it. I'm going to have to read it now.
It's fantastic. It's such a mindset shift. It's so inspiring, and it's an easy read. I remember purchasing it at Barnes & Noble, going home to my parents' house at the time, and opening up, and I finished it in one night.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and it changed I'm not kidding, it changed my life.
Okay, I love that. Okay, yes. I'll read it. What's your biggest business pet peeve?
Oh gosh, probably not answering the phone. Number one.
She's all number 2252.
I actually have it on my phone. I think also too, I really, really do not love when agents get aggressive, on behalf of their client or in general.
For no reason at all.
Exactly.
Your job is to manage emotion. Exactly. Manage your own first. Yes.
Exactly. I think that's been another big pet peeve of mine, would be probably aggressive emotions. Yeah.
Okay. I would say for mine, it's I'm fine if you don't answer the phone, but when I get a voicemail, no, it's all, your voicemail box is full. I'm all, your one job as a salesperson.
Listen to the voicemail. Yes. Return the call.
Right. Yeah. Let me help you, please.
Exactly.
All right. So, okay, two more. Yes. What's the one tool or app you can't live without in your daily business?
Oh, this is so simple, and everyone's going to be like, what? It's my Notes app. Okay. I operate solely out of my Notes app. I have my schedule, my lists, everything in there.
So you brain dump in there.
Oh, yeah. I brain dump in there, but also it's so helpful, and everyone on my team has an iPhone, which makes it even more helpful, is I can share that note with them. Everyone has access to it, and what I love even more about it is I can access it like in the hills of Lake Elsinore if I wanted to, Okay, I don't need service for
that's
it.
Fair. That's a big thing.
Yes. And so usually I'm showing about 8 to 12 homes a weekend, depending on, where we're at and busy level wise. But some of those homes, they're there. And if I'm trying to look at my schedule and I can't even open the app because I don't have service, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
Yeah, we found the simplest way to do it, and it's the Notes app on iPhone.
That's a really interesting thing that you brought it up, because there's been so many times, like on the weekend, like I work every weekend, right? And so even the weekends where my husband and I will do a getaway, he knows that it's 1 to 3 hours sporadically throughout the day. Yes. But there's been a couple of, like, going up to Big Bear.
Yes.
It's like, oh my gosh, do you hear me? Like, I can't get to it. So I think I might have learned something. Yeah.
Simplicity. Like, how can we make this as simple as possible?
So my final question to you is around social media. Whether you're starting out in social or whether you're just doing well at it, what are a couple of things that if you could go back to yourself when you first started that you would tell yourself then?
Yeah, I would say get away from like the just solds, just, listed, all that stuff. I think they're great. I think they are things that you want to share on social media. but I found so much success in just being myself and sharing myself, sharing that I love music. I have a dog, you know, where I live. I love this city. You know, this is my favorite coffee shop. Leaning into the things that I like and who I am have brought me so much business with people who like similar things. People want to work with people who they know, like, and trust.
Right.
You know, it's said many times in this business. But once you apply that to social media and you're not scared to show up as yourself and scared to post the things that you like and your thoughts, I think the business just flows. You know, people associate with me as being a real estate agent, yes, but also they know me in a lot of ways. And I've been very intentional about that on social media.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, to walk into an office here where every person follows you and could be like, it's Sarah's coming. You know, that's a cool thing. That speaks to the brand that you've built on it.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there anything else that you would do differently or any technology that you adapt quicker to help you be better at social?
Yeah, absolutely. I am, like I've said, so simple. I think and post same day, which is I'm trying not to do, but I'm posting in the moment. I'm creating the content in the moment most days. You know, I'm not really pre-recording stuff. I want to get better at that, but it's really allowed me to be super authentic in the moment.
I was about to say, I don't see anything wrong with it.
No, it's been so great. I mean, especially because that's the one thing I focus on. I'm not really farming. I'm doing all that stuff. Like, this is what I'm doing to create business. So I'm all in all day long.
Awesome.
But I would say my biggest piece of advice too would be don't hire someone to do your social media for you. I think that's a mistake that some people need, like an assistant, someone to do comments or whatever.
Right.
I always like to say it's like hiring someone to show up at a party for you. You're not going to be the same person.
You're not going to transpose who you are onto the social, for sure.
Your descriptions will be different. Your captions will be different.
For sure.
Content will be different. So I think just, you know, doing it yourself, and I think done's better than perfect. So.
I think done is better than perfect. And that's something that I actually have conversations with all the time, especially as I think women deal with it a little bit more. Like, I like to put out a product that's 80% fleshed out.
Yeah.
It hurts my soul.
I know.
When it goes at like 40 to 60%. Yes. And so it literally has been just the last couple weeks. It's like, no. We're stopping. It's 50%. We're going to do this. Hit the button.
Yes.
So we're working on it.
Just put it out. Yes. No, absolutely. And, you know, you get the feedback and then you learn. And if you want to post something like that again, then you learn, you know, how to do it better.
Right. Yes. I know. And of course, everybody will tell you that it was bad and you'll fix it.
Yes. All the comments. Yes. I know.
You're like, I'm sorry. I'm figuring it out.
Or that I'm a Riverside realtor. They're like, why Riverside? What's so great about Riverside? I'm like, let me show you.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad you asked.
If you stayed a little bit, we'd be able to really talk about it. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I mean, you are just a powerhouse. Everybody in Riverside knows you. So it's been an honor and a pleasure, and I love you even more, even past social.
I appreciate that so much. Thank you. I feel the same.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.